Percy passed Miss O'Leary, who was looking up curiously with a gorgon wiggling in her mouth. "I'm fine," Percy yelled as he ran by, followed by a giant screaming bloody murder. He jumped over a burning scorpion and ducked as Hannibal threw a cyclops across his path. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw Tyson pounding the Earthborn into the ground like a game of whack-a-mole. Ella was fluttering above him, dodging missiles and calling out advice. "The groin! Smash the Earthborn's groin! It's sensitive!" Smash! "Yes, good! Tyson found his groin!" "Percy needs help," Tyson called. "I'm good!" "Die!" Polyboats yelled, closing fast. Percy kept running. In the distance, he saw Hazel and Arian galloping across the battlefield, cutting down centaurs and carpi. One green spirit yelled, "Wheat! I give you wheat!" But Arian stomped him into a pile of breakfast cereal. Queen Hylia and Rhaena joined forces, Forklift and Pegasus riding together, scattering the dark shades of fallen warriors. Frank turned himself into an elephant and stomped through some of the Cyclops, and Dakota held the Golden Eagle high, blasting lightning at any monsters that dared challenge the 5th cohort. All that was great, but Percy needed a different kind of help. He needed a god. He glanced back and saw the giant almost within arm's reach. To buy some time, Percy ducked behind one of the aqueduct columns. The giant swung his trident. When the column crumbled, Percy used the unleashed water to guide the collapse, bringing down several tons of bricks on the giant's head. Percy bolted for the city limits. "Terminius!" he yelled. The nearest statue of the god was about 60 feet ahead. His stone eyes snapped open as Percy ran towards him. "Completely unacceptable," he complained. "Buildings on fire! Invaders! Get them out of here, Percy Jackson!" "I'm trying," he said. "But there's this giant, Polyboats!" "Yes, I know. Wait, excuse me for a moment." Terminius closed his eyes in concentration. A flaming green cannonball sailed over and suddenly vaporized. "I can't stop all the missiles," Terminius complained. "Why can't they be civilized and attack more slowly? I'm only one god." "Help me kill the giant," Percy said, "and this will be all over. A god and a demigod working together. That's the only way we can kill him." Terminius sniffed. "I guard borders. I don't kill giants. It's not in my job description." "Terminius, come on!" Percy took another step forward, and the god shrieked indignantly. "Stop right there, young man! No weapons inside Promenade Lane! But we're under attack!" "I don't care. Rules are rules. When people don't follow the rules, I get very, very angry." Percy smiled. "Hold that thought." He sprinted back towards the giant. "Hey, ugly!" Polyboats burst from the ruins of the aqueduct. The water was still pouring over him, turning to poison and creating a steamy marsh around his feet. You will die slowly," the giant promised. He picked up his tridents, now dripping with green venom. All around him the battle was winding down. As the last monsters were mopped up, Percy's friends started gathering, forming a ring around the giants. "I will take you prisoner, Percy Jackson," Polyboat snarled. "I will torture you under the sea. Every day the water will heal you, and every day I will bring you closer to death." "Great offer," Percy said, "but I think I'll just kill you instead." Polyboats bellowed in rage. He shook his head, and more basilisks flew from his hair. "Get back," Frank warned. Fresh chaos spread through the ranks. Hazel spurred Arian and put herself between the basilisk and the campers. Frank changed form, shrinking into something lean and furry. A weasel? Percy thought Frank had lost his mind, but when Frank charged basilisks, they absolutely freaked out. They slithered away with Frank chasing after them in a hot weaselly pursuit. Polyboats pointed his trident and ran towards Percy. As the giant reached Promenade Lane, Percy jumped aside like a bullfighter. Polyboats barreled across the city limits. "That's it!" Terminius cried. "That's against the rules!" Polyboats frowned, obviously confused that he was being told off by a statue. "What are you?" he growled. "Shut up!" He pushed the statue over and turned back to Percy. "Now I'm mad!" Terminius shrieked. "I'm strangling you! Feel that? Those are my hands around your neck, you big bully! Get over here! I'm going to headbutt you so hard!" "Enough!" The giant stepped on the statue and broke Terminius into 3 pieces: pedestal, body, and head. "You didn't!" shouted Terminius. "Percy Jackson, you've got yourself a deal! Let's kill this upstart!" The giant laughed so hard he didn't realize that Percy was charging until it was too late. Percy jumped up, vaulting off the giant's knee, and drove Riptide straight through one of the metal mouths on Polyboat's breastplate, sinking the celestial bronze hilt deep into his chest. The giant stumbled backward, tripping over Terminius's pedestal and crashing to the ground. When he tried to get up, clawing at the sword in his chest, Percy hefted the head of the statue. "You'll never win!" the giant groaned. "You cannot defeat me alone!" "I'm not alone." Percy raised the stone above his head, above the giant's face. "I'd like you to meet my friend Terminius. He's a god." Too late, awareness and fear dawned in the giant's face. Percy smashed the god's head as hard as he could against Polyboat's nose, and the giant dissolved, crumbling into a steaming heap of seaweed, reptile skin, and poisonous muck. Percy staggered back, completely exhausted. "Ha!" said the head of Terminius. "That will teach him to obey the rules of Rome." For a moment the battlefield was silent, except for a few fires burning, and a few retreating monsters screaming in panic. A ragged circle of Romans and Amazons stood around Percy. Tyson, Ella, and Miss O'Leary were there. Frank and Hazel were grinning at him with pride. Arian was nibbling contentedly at a golden shield. The Romans began to chant, "Percy! Percy!" They mobbed him. Before he knew it, they were raising him on a shield. The cry changed to, "Praetor! Praetor!" Among the chanters was Rhena herself, who held up her hand and grasped Percy's in congratulation. Then the mob of cheering Romans carried him around the promenarian line, carefully avoiding Terminius's borders, and escorted him back home, to Camp Jupiter.